Previous lesson. One of the things that we covered in the previous lesson was a hadith wherein the narrator of the hadith referred to the Prophet ﷺ as as-sadiq al-masduq. You guys remember that hadith? Remember? remember أخي؟ تذكرت؟ نسيت رقم الحديث لكن في بداية الحديث الراوي يقول وهو الصادق المصدوق. Is it the fourth hadith? ممكن ما أدري نسيته. على كل حال, my question to you guys today is, why did the narrator of the hadith refer to the Prophet ﷺ as being as-sadiq, the truthful, al-masduq, the one that is believed? غيرك.
People believed in even before Islam.
Again?
People believed in him, he was the truth teller even before Islam.
Jade, that's why he was known as being a sadiq. He was definitely a sadiq. But what did we mention as it relates to the connection between being referred to as a sadiq al-masduq and what the hadith actually contains? In order for you guys to answer this question, you would need to know what the Prophet ﷺ mentions in the hadith. Now, you put your hand up.
Oh, sorry, what?
The answer, yeah.
Because he's talking about affairs that I've seen.
Mumtaz. When you go back to hadith number 4, if somebody can open it up.
Okay.
You got it there?
No.
In a nice loud voice, if you can read it from the beginning, please.
English?
In Arabic?
I don't know.
You got, okay, in English then, no problem.
Verily, the creation of each one of you is brought together in his mother's womb for
Okay.
40 days.
Right at the beginning, from the narrator.
Abdullah ibn Mas'ud reported the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said,
Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. Ibn Mas'ud, ikhwani wa akhawati fillah, is from those he was one of those companions that were blessed to have tafsir of the Quran. He was one of those companions that have tafsir of the Quran. Fadl.
said, Verily, the creation of each one of you is brought together in his mother's womb.
Afwan akhi, what's your name?
Bilal.
Bilal, barakallahu fi. Is there anything before that part?
Not in this.
Here it says the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he is truthful, the believed.
That's what. Have you got that?
Narrated.
Okay, that there is integral. That there is integral. I want you to continue reading, but just read the first part so everyone can hear what's going on.
Okay, on the authority of Abu Abdurrahman Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu, who said, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he is truthful, the believed, narrated to us.
You can continue now, akhi.
Verily, the creation of each one of you is brought together in his mother's womb for 40 days.
The creation of every single one of you is brought together in his mother's womb for how many days, guys?
40 days.
40 days. It's the first point.
As a drop.
As a drop of sperm.
Then he is a clot for a similar period.
Now, for how many more days?
40.
How many numbers are we in total?
80.
This is the second point. Then, for the similar amount of days, he now turns into a morsel.
Then a morsel for a similar period.
Then he goes into a morsel. It's the third point. Now,
Just a small, anything
it's
that's
like a small clot.
You can have a morsel of food. So
You could have a morsel of food, a small piece of food.
Yeah.
I think they compare it to what a date looks like. It's like a morsel. It's a small piece of flesh. All right. The point being, the Prophet ﷺ is describing the different stages of our creation. This is extremely important to pay attention to.
Then there is sent to him the angel who blows the spirit into him, and he is commanded regarding 4 matters.
Then the angel sent after how many days now?
18.
120.
120. There was 3 stages.
No.
There was 3 stages. Go back to the first stage. I want everybody to be on the same page. First stage.
Is brought together in his mother's womb for 40 days.
Everyone is brought together in his mother's womb for 40 days. And after 40 days, as a drop of sperm. After 40 days, what happens? I'm going to ask you a question in a sec.
Then he is a clot for a similar period.
Then he turns into a clot for a similar period, i.e. a similar 40 days. So we're at 80 days. And then?
Then a morsel for a similar period.
Then a morsel for a similar period. So that's 40, 40, 40, 120. 120. Now,
Then there is sent to him the angel who blows the spirit into him.
Then an angel is sent to him. Who is the one that sends the angel to this creation in the womb of the mother? What's your name, brother?
My name is Kareem.
Kareem.
Khalid.
Kaleem, nice to meet you, Kaleem. Who is the one that sends the angel to blow into this creation? Who do you think is the one that does that? Allahu Akbar. Allah. Of course, Allah is the only one. Yuhyi wa yumit. Naam.
Sent him the angel who blows the spirit into him, and he is commanded regarding 4 matters.
4 integral matters. Pay attention.
To write down his provision.
بِكَتْبِ رِزْقِهِ. The angel is commanded by Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala to write down the provisions. You guys know what provisions mean? It's rizq. How much money he's going to make, what kind of things is he going to acquire in this dunya. Alright? بِكَتْبِ رِزْقِهِ
His lifespan.
وَأَجْلِهِ, i.e. when will he actually leave his mother's tummy, for lack of a better expression, and when will he ultimately pass away. All of this is written. Now,
his deeds.
وَعَمَلِهِ, those things that you're going to do in this dunya, it's been maktub, it's written. Now,
and whether he is blessed or damned.
Whether he's blessed or damned, ultimately, is he going to be from the people of paradise, or is he going to be from the people of the fire? These 4 things have been written at the time when the angel was sent to write these four things at the 120th day. Now,
by Allah, other than whom there is no God.
Now,
one of you acts like the people of paradise until he is but an arm's length from it.
Now,
and what is written overtakes him, so he acts like the people of hellfire, and he enters it.
Now,
verily, one of you acts like the people of the hellfire until he is but an arm's length from it, and what is written overtakes him, so he acts like the people of the paradise, and he enters it.
Now, there's so many fawaid that we can extract from this hadith. For example, the belief in al-qadr. Al-qadr, alright? But at the same time, al-qadr, predestination. Predestination of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Or sometimes people say the pre-decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But it should not be thought for one split second that because our provisions and because our lifespan and because our deeds and because whether we're destined for the hellfire or the paradise has been already written, it shouldn't be understood for 1 minute that khalas, my provisions and what I'm going to be making from the time I'm born to the time I'll die is already written, so I'm just not going to do nothing and my provisions are going to come to me. That's not how the Muslim should understand the decree of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. Alright? And as the ulama say, Al-akhdhu bil-asbabi la yunafi at-tawakkul. Taking the necessary means to get things doesn't negate you putting your trust in Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. Alright? So if I want to earn a living, yes, I understand and I believe that my sustenance has been already decreed for me. But that doesn't give me the concession to sit in my bed and do nothing and say to my wife, don't worry, money's just going to come to us. Life doesn't work like that. You have to go out and seek Allah's provisions. And it's in seeking Allah's provisions, that's when doors open. And that's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knew you were going to do 50,000 years before your creation. Does that make sense? So the one that says, no, my rizq's already written, I'm going to do nothing, it's going to come to me. Allah knew you were going to do that, and thus you're going to get whatever you're going to get. Does that make sense, guys? The fact that our sustenance has already been written, one should not understand by no stretch of the imagination that you don't have to go out and search for your rizq. It was written that you were going to go out and search for your rizq in Allah's infinite wisdom. Sometimes, why is it difficult to get our heads around this? Because we only know as human beings limitations. We can't comprehend the concept of something never ending or always being, because we had a beginning and we ultimately will have an end. Sah? But with Allah Ta'ala, there is no beginning, there is no end. So it can cause some ishkal with the Muslims sometimes. Or, well, if my sustenance is already written and what I'm going to do, if I'm going to go to the paradise or the hellfire is already written, I might as well just live how I want to live. Because what's going to happen to me is going to happen. Say, La ya Abdullah. That's not how you're supposed to understand it. You're supposed to do what you can and get as close to the bullseye as you can. Be as pious and as God-fearing as you can, and inshallah ta'ala you're going to be from the people of paradise. But the one that says, khalas, look, if I'm destined for the fire, I'm just going to live my life how I want, party, rave, girls, smoke, drugs, whatever. Well, it was written that this is how you were going to understand life, and thus, that's where you're going to end up. Does that make sense, guys? But back to the original point, because I've digressed ever so slightly. The original question was, why did Ibn Mas'ud, radiallahu ta'ala anhu, why did he say that the Prophet ﷺ was as-sadiq al-masduq, when we already know that he's as-sadiq al-masduq? We already know that he's the messenger of Allah. La yantiqu anil hawa. Sah? He said it because all of those four things that he mentioned, or the three stages of creation, were from the affairs of the unseen. How was it possible? How is it possible that the Prophet ﷺ over 1,400 years ago would have known in detail the stages of creation, when this is information that we've only become privy to, what, last 100 years? Not even that. He's speaking about the affairs of the unseen. Alright guys, that's the answer to that question. He's speaking about affairs of the unseen. Barakallahu feekum. Sa'a kam al-adhan? Quarter past. Adhan's at half past? Quarter past, salah's at half past. Jade. Alright, I thought it was at quarter past. We might as well get into the hadith then, inshallah ta'ala. Tayyib, who's got a really, really nice loud voice that we can... you got a question? Oh, you got a loud voice? Can you read in Arabic?
Yeah.
Read in Arabic for me. Nice and loud, please, Akhi. Excellent. The hadith. Okay. That's going to be a bit of a challenge. Alright, who's got their book with them that's got a nice loud voice? Sheikh Bilal. Don't let me down today, man. You're my Sheikh. You got it?
Yeah.
In Arabic?
Yeah.
Bismillah. Nice and loud, Akhi.
عن عبد الله
لا. Where you at, Akhi?
بن
What hadith?
مسعود
لا. What
رضي
hadith?
الله عنه
Number 12.
12.
Give him the wrong hadith. Okay, no worries. Well, today, Ikhwan, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, we're starting hadith number 12. And guys, listen, I want to say something, right? Sometimes one of you guys might be reading and I might interject and just start speaking. There's no disrespect intended at all. There's no disrespect intended. It's just how even scholars do that sometimes. If a reader's reading and the teacher wants to say something, you just interject. But it's not to cut somebody off from speaking, yeah? Now, Bismillah, Akhi. Oh, trying to find it still? La ba's. Now. Does anybody else want to read? In the meantime, nice loud voice. Oh, has he got it?
Oh, has he got it?
Has he got it? Yeah. No, Bismillah. Nice loud voice, Akhi. Alexander.
عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم
ما في مشكلة. عن أبي هريرة رضي الله تعالى عنه. Who can remember from our last lesson the name of Abu Hurairah? غيرك أنت. Ibn? Give me the full 100.
Abdurrahman ibn
Sakhar, excellent. Abdurrahman ibn Sakhar. I don't know As-Sadusi if I'm not mistaken, but let's just stop on Abdurrahman ibn Sakhar. Alright, fantastic, excellent. Tafaddal, Akmil. Oh, he had a phone call come through.
قال رسول الله
صلى الله عليه وسلم.
من حسن إسلام المرء
تركه
ما لا يعنيه حديث حسن
رواه الترمذي. Excellent. هكذا excellent ما شاء الله تبارك الله fantastic. عن أبي هريرة رضي الله تعالى عنه عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من حسن إسلام المرء تركه ما لا يعنيه. On the authority of Abu Hurairah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be pleased with him, he said that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam said, from the perfection or from the goodness or the excellence of a person's Islam is him leaving alone that which does not concern him. This hadith is graded Hasan and it's been collected by At-Tirmidhi and other than Imam At-Tirmidhi with the same wording. Now oftentimes, ikhwani, when the Prophet ﷺ was addressing his ummah or his companions and subsequently us, it's as if he's referring to a male from the perfection of a person's Islam. Al-mara, laysa imra'a. He never said al-imra'a min husni Islam imra'ati. La. Lakin, does this mean, because it's only speaking about a male here, that the women ain't included? La. Al-ghalib, what is directed to men is also directed to women, fil ghalib, unless there's a dalil to say, like when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says marry 2, 3, 4, and if you can't, that's not for the women, that was something that's khas for the rijal. But generally here, when you're looking at a hadith like this, when you're speaking about the perfection of somebody's adab or adab, his manners, then it's for both men and women, and it's not restricted exclusively for men. Now, any questions?
So is al-mar'u another word for man?
A person. I would say a person.
Okay.
A person. But it's in the masculine form. And Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala knows best. على كل حال, this hadith, إخواني وأخواتي في الله, يدل على ما يلي. From the benefits of this hadith and what it indicates and points to is or are the following. Number 1, أن الإيمان يزيد وينقص. And this is a qaida from the qawaid of al-Islam, that our iman, it goes up and it also goes down. It increases and it decreases. It increases and it decreases. What does our iman increase with, guys? At the back. At the back. Amani. There you are. Iman increases with what? Good deeds. Obedience to Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. And it decreases with boss. 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 You're the boss today. Like a boss. Boss. It increases with boss. It decreases with boss.
Decreases.
Iman, our faith, our belief in Allah, it increases with good deeds and it decreases with what?
With haram.
Excellent. And what is haram? Haram is a type of a bad
Bad
deed. Iman, the more you're obedient to Allah wa Ta'ala in all of its forms and manifestations, as-salat fil jama'ah, lowering your gaze, reading Quran, making dhikr, anytime a person engages in anything that is good, your iman is bound to rise. And anytime a person indulges in haram, music, alcohol, women that are not lawful for you, then your iman is going to decrease. How is al-iman yazidu bil-ta'a wa yanqusu bil-ma'siyah? How can we extract this from this hadith here? How can I just said to you that this hadith points to the fact that al-iman yazidu wa yanqus. Yazidu wa yanqus. How did I extract that from min husni Islam al-mar'i tarakahu ma la ya'nihi? Jade, that's good. No problem. No problem. 1 second. Yep, on the wall. The one that's keeping the wall nice and warm. So, where's the connection, Akhi? The question one more time is, I mentioned that this hadith indicates the following. The first thing I mentioned was al-imanu yazidu wa yanqus. How can we extract this from the hadith? أنت لا مو أنت الجالس أيوة تفهم السؤال؟ أيوة
لكن الجواب لا
ما عندك ما في مشكلة طيب.
Because it speaks of perfection of Islam.
Excellent. Keep going, don't
So
stop.
because it speaks of perfection of Islam, it's giving you hints on how to perfect your Islam, which means that it can go from a bad state to a better state.
مفهوم? That's what you were going to say, right? And I knew that's what he was going to say. Well, I had a feeling, shall I say? I didn't know. I had a feeling. That 100% right what Bilal said. The fact that it says, min husni Islami al-mar'i, from the perfection or the excellence, however you want to translate it, it means that if a person doesn't make tark, and he doesn't leave off ma la ya'nihi, that which does not concern him, then if he does get involved with things that do not concern him, his iman or his Islam, shall I say, could either be da'if or it could either be sayyid. Ma'alesh, there are some Muslims whose Islam is sayyid, jiddan. Sah wala la? Sayyid is the opposite of like khair. Khair is good, sayyid is bad. There are some people, some Muslims whose Islam is bad. Alright, let's not.
For example, but this hadith is so short but have a lot of meaning. Like for example, this other hadith, haram bayin wal halal bayin wa baynahuma mushtabahat. This means you have to left everything. It's not halal or not haram, but mushtabah. This near this meaning.
تريد
الحلال بين
الحديث معروف
وما بينهما مشتبهات. يعني المشتبه هذه لا حرم ولا حرم لازم تتركها. لازم الأمور المشتبهات تبعد عنه
الأحسن عشان لا يعلم كثيرا من الناس كما جاء في الحديث. جيد لكن والله أنا نسيت إيش كنت أقول قبل ذلك. ماذا كنت أقول إخوان؟ Some people's Islam is bad, and this is what the reality of life shows us. We got some Muslims that are involved in haram. We got some. I tell you what happened today, and I no word of a lie. I left the Jum'ah. I jumped into I was waiting at the bus stop, and I saw maybe 4 young boys. They were about your age, 17, right? They were about 17 years old. And they were walking, or they was outside the masjid, to tell you the truth. But opposite the bus stop was a police station, and I saw 4 officers run out, and they ran across the road. And it intrigued me. I was thinking, what's going on over there? But la ya'nini, it didn't. Whatever was happening over there didn't concern me. All right, so I just stayed where I was, waited for my bus. As the boys came out and they saw the police officers running, what did they do? No, not the other way. They ran the same way as the police officers. Why? They wanted to find out. They were being nosy. What's going on? All right? And the majority of times that people fall into haram or they fall into things that they shouldn't do is when they concern themselves with things that does not concern him. For all they know, they could have run over there and got themselves into a predicament. Why? Because they got themselves, they concern themselves with that which should never concern them. And this is how you can distinguish the level of a person's Islam. If you find that a person is always following, and this is a characteristic of some Muslims, ma'al asaf al-shadid, they're following the mistakes of other people. They're just following the stick. This is an indication that this person's Islam is da'if. Or you find some people, they don't just follow the mistakes of other people, they start to follow the mistakes of scholars. Again, this is an indication of this person busying himself with that which doesn't concern him, weak Islam. And secondly, when you busy yourself with that which doesn't concern you, you're not busying yourself with what, ikhwan?
What concerns you.
So then you're falling into one sin here and you're missing out a tremendous benefit on the other hand. Does that make sense? Excellent. So one more time.
What did you mean by some people's Islam can be bad for them?
No, I didn't say some people's Islam can be bad for them. Islam is good for everybody. But I said some people's Islam is bad. Meaning, if you have a Muslim, he prays 5 times a day, he doesn't get involved with that which doesn't concern him, he stays away from the haram, he does as much as the halal, the commands as possible, you say, Islamuhu Hasan. His Islam is good. But then if you've got a Muslim that doesn't pray all the time, or he delays his prayer, or he's negligent, or he's lazy when he prays, when it comes to fasting in the month of Ramadan, yes, he stays away from food, but he still listens to music, he still speaks to girls, he still goes raving, and the likes. This person's Islam is bad. Or he gets involved with things that doesn't concern him. This is an indication that he hasn't got good Islam. Because the meaning of this hadith, as it states, is clear. From the excellence of a person's Islam is staying away from that which doesn't concern him. What is the opposite understanding of this? This is for you, Talib. If staying away from something that doesn't concern you is from the excellence of somebody's Islam, then getting involved with something that doesn't concern you is what?
It's bad.
So it's from somebody's, it's from a person's bad Islam. I'm not saying that Islam is bad, but the person's Islam that he's practicing is bad. It's either weak, or it could reach the stage where it's sayyid. It could reach the stage where it's sayyid. And I ask Allah li wa lakum, a good Islam. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for myself and for you all that we have good Islam. So the point number one, benefit number one, this hadith, the hadith number 12, indicate that أن الإيمان يزيد وينقص يزيد بالطاعة وينقص بالمعصية. This hadith number 12 indicates that أن الإيمان, that the iman, the faith, يزيد بالطاعة, it increases with obedience to Allah. Obedience is anything that Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala loves and displeased with. Anything that Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala loves and displeased with is obedience. You busy yourself with that, بإذن ربنا عز وجل, your iman yazid. وَيَنْقُصُ بِالْمَعْصِيَةِ, and it decreases with disobedience. What is disobedience? The opposite of obedience. So anything that Allah dislikes and hates and is displeased with, that would be considered as a ma'siyah. طيب, mumtaz, excellent. We also understand that the Islam, and this is kind of reiterating the first point, that the Islam of the people are of different levels. Not everyone is going to be on the same level of al-Islam. Alright? And this could have various factors affecting that. How long a person's been a Muslim. It could be that you've been a Muslim 15 years, this person's been a Muslim 2 months. Your Islam is probably going to be stronger 9 times out of 10 than this person. Sometimes the opposite is true. This guy's burnt out. Why? Because he spent his 15 years of being a Muslim with that which doesn't concern him. So he's just burnt out now. But this one is fresh. The truth has just come to him, so he's trying to do everything that he can. Alright? There are different levels in Al-Islam. It could be that somebody went abroad and studied. Could be that somebody went abroad and studied. As a result of going abroad and studying, inshallah ta'ala, if you benefit from your knowledge, then your Islam and your knowledge, and maybe that which you'll actually implement in your life, will be significantly higher than the person that is ignorant of certain aspects of Al-Islam. There are many, many factors. But, and this is the most crucial, important point that I want to drill home today. Just because your Islam might be better than somebody else's Islam, for whatever reason, doesn't give you the right to be mutakabbir and stick out your chest and think, ana, listen to me. Does that make sense, guys? Because you don't know, as the brother mentioned in the hadith, inna ahadakum, indeed one of you, لَيَعْمَلُ بِعَمَلِ أَهْلِ الْجَنَّةِ حَتَّى مَا يَكُونُ بَيْنَهُ وَبَيْنَهَا إِلَّا ذِرَاعٌ. الذراع إخوان is min huna, الذراع is min huna ila huna. Alright, they call it a handspan? Handspan. Arm's length. Yeah, الذراع is min huna ila huna. I think when we say arm's length, that's what we mean, yeah. Yeah, that's what we mean, but I think, I can't remember how they translate. I think that's the handspan.
There's a handspan in common language.
No.
There's nothing really
for that. Okay. Ala kullin, adhira in Arabic is this. So a person will do the act.
And in Hebrew as well.
Forearms length.
In Hebrew as well, it's the same thing.
Oh, in Hebrew as well. Okay.
The cubit, yeah.
We call it a forearms length, right?
Yeah.
So a person will be doing these actions. So, oh Abdullah, the one that thinks that because your Islam is better than somebody that's been a Muslim less than you, or maybe he's going through a fitna in life which just shook him for 6 and now it causes iman to yanqus. Maybe he went through, some people when they go through a calamity, they can't deal with it. They can deal with it because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't burden the soul more than they can cope. But they just feel overwhelmed, and as a result, the beard comes off, the salah stop. Calamities affect different people in different ways. And this is just advice, lil jami', myself included. If you ever see your brother or your sister going through a calamity, and the result of that calamity is such that their deen gets weak, don't look down upon them, because there's no benefit in looking down upon them. There's only benefit in praying for that person and hoping that person will return back to the truth. Whether that person's Islam gets weak, or whether that person, la qaddar Allah, becomes deviated. Because it can happen. Some people, they lose their mums, they lose their kids, and it's just too much to handle. But it doesn't give anybody a concession to look down and start speaking or bad-mouthing that person for no reason. Does that make sense, guys? Because like the hadith mentioned, you could be dhira, away from the paradise. and then what's written overtakes you, then you do the actions of the people of the nar, the fire, thus you will enter it. And the opposite is true. You might see a person that is just, like salam to Allah, he's just filled with doing ma'asi, from the worst sins that you can think of. You look at this person and you say, subhanallah, no chance. You may think, no chance. But he might enter the paradise and you might enter, not you, another person might enter the fire. Does it make sense, guys? Never look down on anybody, because you don't know what somebody's going through. Now? Adhan, sorry guys. Alright guys, we're going to stop for the salah right now. The adhan, inshallah ta'ala.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آت محمدا الوسيلة والفضيلة وبعثه مقام المحمود الذي وعدته. نعم. جيد. Again, ikhwan wa akhawat, this hadith also indicates the importance of seeking knowledge. Ahamiyatu talab al-ilm, the importance of seeking knowledge. How can we extract this from this hadith? How can we extract the fact that this hadith indicates the importance of seeking knowledge from the aforementioned hadith? Man. طيب.
So this says that live which is not concerning him. So, which indirectly indicate that he has to be involved in something which is concerning. So, what is concerning him is known by only through the knowledge.
I mean, that's excellent. I wasn't even intending that, but that's excellent. One way you can know that which concerns you, i.e. those things which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made a concern for you, is by seeking knowledge. That's actually fantastic. That's fantastic. Anyone else? How can we extract the fact that this hadith indicates the importance of seeking knowledge?
Because when you said this hadith means that it's, like it decreases and increases.
Good try, excellent. Now,
from the wording of it, saying of the perfection of Islam, it sounds like the answer to a question. So someone would have asked the question, how do I perfect my Islam? Of the perfection of Islam is.
That's a very, very interesting point. I wasn't even thinking about that, but that's excellent. Food for thought. Jay. Okay, let me ask you a question. Let's say, I hope Abu Sumayya doesn't mind. Let's say Abu Sumayya was doing something he shouldn't be doing. Alright? And I go to him, I say, يا أخي هذا الفعل munkar. لا يجوز. أخي, this action that you're doing, or هذا القول, this statement, alright, munkar, it's evil, لا يجوز, it's not permissible. And he says, أخي, اتركني, الأمر لا يعنيك. So leave me alone. This issue doesn't concern you. I say, Ya أخي, كيف? Didn't Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala order the Muslims with al-amru bil-ma'rufi wal-nahyu 'anil munkar? Didn't Allah tabarak wa ta'ala order the Muslim to enjoin the good and forbid the evil? So now this situation, ya'nini, it concerns me, right? But how does a person make al-amru bil-ma'rufi wal-nahyu 'anil munkar? كيف يا إخوان؟ عليكم السلام ورحمة الله.
According to the Hadīth, it says there's three ways. It says change it with your, if you whoever amongst you sees a munkar, should change it either by his tongue or by his actions. And if he can't, then hate in his heart, and that is the weakest of Iman.
أحسنت. حتى ذلك. How is a person able to change a munkar with his hand or with his tongue? What is a prerequisite before we can change a munkar? Al-ilm. هذا هو. This is why I said al-hadith يدل على ماذا؟ أهمية طلب العلم. It indicates the importance of seeking knowledge, even though it's not zahir. Zahir means it's not clear. It doesn't say seeking knowledge is important. It doesn't say that. But it can be extracted from this hadith. And this is why it's so important, ikhwani wa akhawati fillah, to go back to the ulama when we're seeking knowledge. Because the majority of us will just read this hadith at face value. Okay, if I stay away from that which doesn't concern me, it's going to aid my Islam. If I get involved with that which does not concern me, it's going to be a detriment to my Islam. But not many of us, shall I say, will be able to extract this indicates the importance of seeking knowledge. But the ulama do. And this is why they're the inheritors of the prophets. And this is why it's upon the Muslim, male and female. Don't think for 1 second, anything that you guys see me giving you guys in these lessons, that I come from the top of my head. Not one thing. Not one single thing. Everything that you see me say in the classes, I go back to the ulama when I'm preparing for my lessons, and I give it to you guys. You with me? Right now, all I am to you is a conduit. What did you say? Messenger.
Conduit.
I'm just a middleman.
Mediator.
If you like, I'm just a mediator between you guys and the ulama. For those of you that don't speak Arabic or understand Arabic, shall I say, that's all I am. And anybody that was buying a product anybody that was able to get a product for £2, or if they went through somebody else, that product's going to cost £5. What are they going to do? Go straight to the source and get it for £2, or go through somebody else and get it for £5? They go to the source. Why? Because if you get that product for £5 and you're selling it for £10, you're only going to make £5. Well, you're going to make £5 profit. But if you go straight to the source, how much are you going to make? So why, when it comes to business, we would have this type of mentality that, no, I don't want to go through the middleman, I want to go straight to the source. But when it comes to our Islam, which is the most important thing to the Muslim, we are happy, or we're content, shall I say. Content in going through the middleman. There should be an alim here teaching all of us here. In an ideal situation. And that's an encouragement for you guys to learn Arabic. And on that note, we've got some Arabic classes starting soon. Whoever wants to sign up, you can see Abu Sumaya or whoever's in charge of Arabic classes. Guys, I encourage you all to inquire, to sign up. We're going to have a placement test, inshallah ta'ala, where you guys can see what level that you're going to be assigned to. And inshallah ta'ala, we can grow together as a community. Alright guys, we can grow together as a community. How many, have we got 5 minutes left? No.
So I didn't get the answer fully. So what's the connection? How did they extract?
Okay, because if somebody's doing something, right? Like I said, I gave the example, Abu Sumayya was doing or saying something that he shouldn't do. If I go and say, Akhi, don't do that, as I've been commanded, as we've been commanded to do in the Quran. And it's from An-Nasiha. You know the hadith where the Prophet, peace be upon him, said to his companions, aid your brother if he is the oppressor or the oppressed. What did the companions say, guys?
We don't have to aid him if oppressed?
He
How
said-
do we aid them if they're oppressed?
Example. They said, Ya Rasulullah, alayhi salatu wasalam, alayhi salatu, we know how to aid our brother if he's oppressed. We stop the oppression. But how do we aid our brother if he's the oppressor? What did he say? Stop him from oppressing. That's how you help your brother from thing. So in order for you to in order for me to tell my brother, Akhi, don't do that or don't say that, this is also from An-Nasiha. Alright, from so many different angles. Anyway, I say to my brother, don't do that, don't say that. He says, Akhi, this doesn't concern you. I say, it does concern me because Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala ordered me with Al-Amru bil Wal-Nahyu an Tayyib. Do you understand? But my question was after that, in order to do that, what is a prerequisite? In order for you to make Al-Amru bil Ma'rufi Wal-Nahyu an Al-Munkar, a prerequisite to that is that you have knowledge.
So it's connect both hadith.
It's connected from all different angles. Now, make sense, guys? Jade. Guys, I don't want to go into any more masail. Are there any more questions on the floor that we can do before Salah? I've got 4 minutes. Any more questions?
Can you repeat that statement? We say what amr.
Oh, al-amru bil-ma'ruf wal-nahyu an al-munkar. And they commonly translate that as enjoining the good and forbidding the evil. Enjoining the good and forbidding the evil. Alright, I'll take one more benefit before we go and stop for Salah. This hadith also indicates the importance of كيف نقضي أوقاتنا. كيف نقضي أوقاتنا. How we spend our time. This hadith indicates the importance of how we spend our time. Who can extract that from the hadith? I want somebody at the back. Who can? Maybe Sheikh Musa, because he's smiling. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. How can we extract the importance of how we spend our time as Muslims from this hadith? من حسن إسلام المرء تركه ما لا يعنيه. Excellent, Akhi. What you said is definitely not wrong. It's definitely correct. But not exactly what I was looking for. Now, Talib.
Instead of spending your time on things that don't concern you, spend it on things that do.
The majority of people's time, and when I say people, I'm talking about creation, not just the Muslims, but even maybe the Muslims. The majority of our time is spent on doing things which there's no benefit in doing. The majority of our time is spent doing things that there's absolutely no benefit. It's not going to bring us no dunya benefit, nor will it bring us any benefit in the hereafter. And this is the reality of people. So the one that spends the majority of his time in doing something that's no benefit, or that's not what's going to concern him, this goes to show that he's not spending his time. It's called mafhum al-mukhalafa in Arabic. Mafhum al-mukhalafa, the opposite understanding. If somebody is spending their time doing something that shouldn't concern them, they're not doing something that should concern them. I.e., they're not making the most valuable use of that person's time. And what did the Prophet ﷺ say in a hadith? He said, نِعْمَتَانِ مَغْبُونٌ فِيهِمَا كَثِيرٌ مِنَ النَّاسِ. There are 2 blessings. نِعْمَتَانِ مَغْبُونٌ فِيهِمَا كَثِيرٌ مِنَ النَّاسِ. That many of the people squander. What are those 2 things? Just the first one for you.
Health.
As-sihhatu. The first one is health. Second one? Wal-faragh. Wal-faragh. Free time. These 2 tremendous blessings that Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala has given mankind. Kathirun min al-nas are maghboon fihima. And the reality is, guys, and I heard this in the khutbah today, that us young brothers, and I consider anybody that's under the age of 40 as young, we see death as something that's far away. So sometimes we become negligent and heedless. We don't really pay attention to the food that we consume. We don't pay attention to how we, the food that we don't consume for that matter as well, we're just heedless because we're young and we think of death as something that's far away. The only time a person wakes up and starts to tighten up his belt is when his health is in jeopardy. When his health is in jeopardy. Does that make sense, guys? And then he starts to appreciate, no matter how old or young he is, how much of a blessing it was. And that's just the reality of life. You don't know, or we tend not to see the value of something until that thing either gets snatched away or it nearly gets snatched away. So the sensible one who experiences a calamity where something nearly gets snatched away, when he gets another chance, he makes the most of it. And he doesn't squander it. And the sensible one who witnesses a loved one or a friend of a friend, whose health nearly gets snatched away, he says, you know what? Alhamdulillah, that never happened to me, but I'm going to learn from that experience of that person and I'm going to fix up. That's as-sihhatu. The second thing. Wal-faragh. Al-faragh meaning our spare time. Again, sometimes, a person can have loads of free time on his hands, yet he just squanders it. He doesn't do anything. The moment he gets a job, the moment he has a child, the moment he has all these responsibilities on his shoulders, there's lessons in the masjid, there's all these other things, he just can't do it no more because he's busy, legitimately busy. But when he had the free time, he didn't make the most of it. And now he regrets it. And how often do you hear somebody say, I would attend the class if I had, but akhi, you had free time for like 2 years. We didn't see you in the masjid. Does that make sense, guys? Can you see the link between it? The link between what I said? I was saying how this hadith indicates the importance of how we spend our time, and the Prophet ﷺ also mentioned that these are two elements that people, the health and time, that people squander. We're going to stop now, akhi. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. We're going to continue after the salam mubasharatan inshallah, straight away. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم ملك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين
إلى السجود فلا يستطيعون خاشعة أبصارهم ترهقهم ذلة وقد كانوا يدعون إلى السجود وهم سالمون فذرني ومن يكذب بهذا الحديث سنستدرجهم من حيث لا يعلمون وأملي لهم إن كيدي متين أم تسألهم أجرا فهم من مغرم مثقلون أم عندهم الغيب فهم يكتمون فاصبر لحكم ربك ولا تكن كصاحب الحوت إذ نادى وهو مكظوم لولا أن تداركه نعمة من ربه لنبذ بالعراء وهو مذموم فاجتباه ربه فجعله من الصالحين وإن يكاد الذين كفروا ليزلقونك بأبصيرهم لما سمعوا الذكر ويقولون إنه لمجنون وما هو إلا ذكر للعالمين الله أكبر سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم ملك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين فلا أقسم برب المشارق والمغارب إنا لقادرون على أن نبدل خيرا منهم وما نحن بمسبوقين فذرهم يخوضوا ويلعبوا حتى يلاقوا يومهم الذي يوعدون يوم يخرجون من الأجداث سراعا كأنهم إلى نصب يوفضون خاشعة أبصارهم ترهقهم ذلة ذلك اليوم الذي كانوا يوعدون الله أكبر سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر السلام عليكم ورحمة الله السلام عليكم ورحمة الله